66 million years ago, Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico. An object 6 miles wide screaming through the atmosphere at 45,000 miles per hour. Temperature at impact point, 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Hotter than the surface of the sun. The explosion released energy equivalent to 10 billion Hiroshima bombs in 1 second. 75% of all species on Earth died within days. The age of dinosaurs, 170 million years of dominance, ended in a geological eye blink. At least that's what they teach you. But here's what they don't mention. The asteroid impact happened 66 million years ago. We know this. The iridium layer in rock cores proves it. The Chicxulub crater exists. We can measure it. But fossil records show something else. Something that doesn't fit. Dinosaurs were already dying off 300,000 years before that asteroid hit. Not a gradual decline, a collapse. Species diversity dropping by 40%.
Egg fossils showing thinner shells, deformities, entire genera vanishing from the fossil record. So what was killing them before the asteroid delivered the final blow? And here's the real question. Why did crocodiles survive? Why did sharks survive? Why did small mammals survive? But every single dinosaur species, land, sea, air, went extinct? Think about it. An asteroid hits the Yucatan, creates a crater 110 miles wide, throws up enough dust to block the sun for months. Okay, that explains why large land animals died. No plants, no food chain, makes sense. But crocodiles need to eat too. Sharks need to eat. They lived through the same catastrophe, same darkness, same cold, same starvation. Yet they're still here, and dinosaurs aren't. Something doesn't add up. You know what bothers me most? The official story treats the asteroid like it's the whole answer. Case closed, dinosaurs dead, moving on. But nature doesn't work that way. Mass extinctions are messy.
Complicated, multiple factors. So I want to know what you think. Was it really just one asteroid? Or were dinosaurs already on their way out? Drop your theory in the comments, because the more I dig into this, the more it looks like we've been told a sanitized version. A version that's easier to teach in schools, easier to show in museums. One big rock, everything dies. Simple. But the evidence? It's not simple at all. Let's start with what we know for certain. Facts nobody disputes. June 6, 1980. Geologist Walter Alvarez and his father, Nobel Prize-winning physicist Luis Alvarez, published a paper in the journal Science. They'd found something strange in rock layers near Gubbio, Italy. A thin band of clay, maybe half an inch thick, separating Cretaceous rock from Paleogene rock. The exact boundary where dinosaurs disappeared from the fossil record. That clay contained iridium, rare on Earth's surface, common in asteroids. The iridium concentration was 30 times higher than normal. 30 times. In a layer found on every continent. Same depth, same composition. Luis Alvarez did the math. Calculated the size of the asteroid needed to deposit that much iridium globally. Came up with 6 miles wide, moving at cosmic velocity. Impact energy? 100 million megatons. Enough to vaporize rock. Enough to throw trillions of tons of debris into the stratosphere. Enough to trigger a nuclear winter lasting months. The theory explained everything. Clean, elegant, catastrophic. Except for one problem. They couldn't find the crater. See, an asteroid 6 miles wide leaves a scar, a big one. Scientists searched for years,
checked impact craters worldwide. Nothing matched the age or size. Then in 1991, Canadian geophysicist Alan Hildebrand found it, buried under limestone and ocean sediment off the coast of Mexico. Chicxulub crater, named after the nearest town. Ground-penetrating radar showed the structure. 110 miles across, 12 miles deep. Age, 66 million years old, exactly matching the iridium layer. Case closed, right? Mainstream science says yes. Asteroid hits, dinosaurs die, end of story. But let's examine what actually happened in the minutes and hours after impact. Because when you look at the physics, the timeline, things get weird. The asteroid hit shallow water, Yucatan Peninsula. Ocean depth maybe 300 feet, not deep. The object punched through water like it wasn't there, slammed into limestone bedrock. Instant vaporization. Rock turned to plasma. Temperature at ground zero, 18,000 degrees, hotter than the sun's surface. Shockwave traveled outward at supersonic speed. Everything within 600 miles incinerated in seconds. Not burned, vaporized. Earthquake's magnitude 11. For comparison, the strongest earthquake ever recorded was magnitude 9.5.
This was magnitude 11. Doesn't exist on our scale. Would have been felt on the opposite side of the planet. Tsunamis 300 feet high. Wall of water taller than the Statue of Liberty. Swept across the Gulf of Mexico. Destroyed everything on coastlines. Then came the ejector. Molten rock launched into space. Trillions of tons. Some fragments escaped Earth's gravity. Most fell back. Rained down globally for hours. Fireballs the size of cars. Thousands of them, simultaneously. Forests worldwide ignited. Oxygen levels dropped. Smoke and ash filled the atmosphere. Within 48 hours, sunlight couldn't reach the surface. Temperature dropped 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Photosynthesis stopped. Plants died. Herbivores starved. Carnivores starved. Food chain collapsed. Took 10 years for the atmosphere to clear. 10 years of cold darkness. That's the official timeline. And it works, mathematically, physically. It explains mass extinction. But here's loop number 1. Why did some species survive? Crocodiles, alligators, turtles, sharks, rays, sturgeon, gar, salamanders, frogs, snakes, lizards, small mammals, birds. All survived. All living today. Descendants of creatures that endured the same catastrophe that killed every dinosaur. Standard explanation goes like this. Small animals could hide, burrow underground, wait it out, eat seeds and roots during the dark years. Okay, but crocodiles aren't small. American crocodiles grow 16 feet long, weigh half a ton, can't burrow, can't survive 10 years without food. Yet they made it through. Sharks can't burrow either. Great whites existed 66 million years ago. Still here. Same species. How'd they find food in oceans where photosynthesis stopped? Where plankton died? Where the entire marine food web collapsed? And here's the part that keeps me up at night. Birds survived. Modern birds. Descended directly from theropod dinosaurs. Genetically, they are dinosaurs, just smaller, with feathers. So dinosaurs survived as birds, but every other dinosaur species went extinct. Land, sea, air. Gone. Why? Official story says size. Large animals need more food, can't hide, can't wait out the dark years. But then explain plesiosaurs, marine reptiles. Some were only 6 feet long, smaller than modern crocodiles, lived in the ocean, could eat fish, could dive deep where some marine life survived. Dead. All of them. Every species. Meanwhile, crocodiles, which are bigger, need the same food sources, lived in the same environments, survived just fine. That's loop number 1. Species selectivity. Official story doesn't explain it. Loop number 2. The Deccan Traps. Western India. Region called the Deccan Plateau. Largest volcanic formation on Earth. Covers 200,000 square miles. Lava flows stacked over a mile thick in places. Geologists knew about the Deccan Traps for decades, but in 2013, Berkeley geochronologist Paul Wren published new dating analysis. The Deccan volcanism started 750,000 years before the asteroid impact, lasted 400,000 years after. Peak eruption phase, within 50,000 years of the impact. Think about what that means. For 750,000 years, massive volcanic eruptions pumped sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Acid rain fell globally. Ocean chemistry changed. Temperature fluctuated wildly. Greenhouse gases warmed the planet. Sulfur aerosols cooled it. Back and forth. Ecosystems destabilized. Then, right when the Deccan volcanism hit its most intense phase, the asteroid struck. Coincidence? Mainstream science says yes. Just bad timing for dinosaurs. Volcanoes weakened them. Asteroid finished them off. But some geologists argue the asteroid impact triggered the peak volcanic phase. Seismic shock waves traveled through the Earth's mantle, destabilized magma chambers, caused the most violent eruptions. Either way, you've got two catastrophes. Not one. Volcanoes plus asteroid. Double extinction event. Official narrative focuses on the asteroid, gets more attention, more dramatic. Giant rock from space. Makes better museum exhibits. But the volcanism lasted 750,000 years. That's not instant death. That's slow poisoning of the entire planet. And here's what the fossil record shows. Dinosaur diversity declining 300,000 years before impact, during the peak Deccan eruption phase, which brings us to loop number 3. Hell Creek Formation, Montana. Richest dinosaur fossil site in North America. Paleontologists have studied it for over a century, mapped every layer, dated every rock stratum. The Hell Creek spans the last 1.3 million years of the Cretaceous period, right up to the KT boundary, the asteroid impact layer. If dinosaurs died instantly from the asteroid, you'd expect to find fossils right up to that boundary. Maybe even above it for species that survived a few more years. But that's not what the fossils show. In 2015, paleontologist Steve Brusatte published a comprehensive analysis. Examined every dinosaur genus from the final 5 million years of the Cretaceous. Dinosaur diversity dropped by 40% in the last 3 million years before the asteroid. 40%. Gradual but consistent decline. Large herbivores hit hardest. Ceratopsians, the horned dinosaurs like Triceratops. Hadrosaurs, the duck-billed dinosaurs, both groups declining. Carnivores next. Tyrannosaurs hanging on, but fewer species. Dromaeosaurs almost gone. By the time the asteroid hit, dinosaurs were already in collapse, not thriving, not at peak diversity, collapsing. Official explanation? Climate change from the Deccan volcanism. Temperature swings, habitat loss, weakened populations. Then the asteroid delivered the knockout punch. But here's what bothers me. If volcanoes were killing dinosaurs slowly, why didn't they kill crocodiles? Why didn't they kill turtles?
Those species lived in the same environments, breathed the same air, drank the same water. Yet their fossil record shows stable populations right through the Deccan eruption phase. No decline, no collapse. Crocodiles cruising along unbothered, while dinosaurs died off by the millions. What made dinosaurs so vulnerable? That's loop number 3, pre-impact decline. Selective pressure that hit dinosaurs, but spared other reptiles. Nobody has a satisfactory answer. Loop number 4, the marine extinction. Everyone focuses on land dinosaurs, T-Rex, Triceratops, Velociraptors, the famous ones. But the extinction wasn't limited to land. Mosasaurs, massive marine reptiles up to 50 feet long, apex predators of late Cretaceous oceans, dead, every species. Plesiosaurs, long-necked marine reptiles, some as small as 6 feet, some as large as 40 feet, dead, every species.
Ammonites, shelled cephalopods related to modern nautilus, thrived for 350 million years, survived 4 previous mass extinctions. Dead, every species. Pterosaurs, flying reptiles. Quetzalcoatlus had a wingspan of 33 feet, largest flying animal ever. Dead, every species. Now think about the physics of the asteroid impact. It hit land, Yucatan Peninsula, shallow coastal water, not deep ocean. Ejecta and dust blocked sunlight. Okay, that kills photosynthesis, kills plankton, collapses marine food chains, makes sense. But deep ocean ecosystems don't depend entirely on surface photosynthesis. Hydrothermal vents support entire ecosystems through chemosynthesis. Bacteria feed on chemicals. Animals feed on bacteria. No sunlight required. Those ecosystems survived, still exist today, barely noticed the asteroid impact. So why did every mosasaur die? Why did every plesiosaur die? They could swim, could dive deep, could follow surviving fish populations into deeper water. Modern whales survived similar events, shifted prey, adapted. Mosasaurs had 66 million years of evolution, making them perfectly adapted ocean predators. Yet they went extinct while sharks, less specialized, less adapted, survived. Something killed marine reptiles specifically. Something that didn't kill sharks, didn't kill bony fish, didn't kill marine mammals' ancestors. Loop number 4. Selective marine extinction. Official story says starvation, but evidence suggests something more specific, something targeting reptile physiology. And nobody talks about it. Loop number 5. The iridium problem. Remember the iridium layer? That's the smoking gun proof of asteroid impact. Found globally, same age, same composition. Except it's not uniform. In 2003, geochemist Frank Kite published an analysis of Pacific Ocean core samples, sediment from the ocean floor spanning the KT boundary. Some areas showed high iridium concentrations, expected, normal. But other areas, just a few hundred miles away, showed barely detectable iridium, almost background levels. Why would an asteroid impact that threw debris globally create inconsistent iridium deposits? Standard explanation says ocean currents, sediment transport, local variations in deposition rates. But Kite's data shows the low iridium zones don't correlate with ocean current patterns. They're random, scattered. And here's the weird part. Core samples from land sites show the opposite pattern. Consistent iridium everywhere, no gaps, no low concentration zones.
Something about ocean deposition created irregularities. Something that shouldn't happen if all the iridium came from atmospheric fallout. Unless there was another source, a secondary source, local, marine. What could deposit iridium in oceans but not on land? Loop number 5, iridium distribution anomalies, makes no sense in the single asteroid model.
So we've got 5 open questions. 1. Why did some reptiles survive, but all dinosaurs died? 2. How much did Deccan volcanism contribute versus the asteroid? 3. Why were dinosaurs declining before the asteroid hit? 4. What killed marine reptiles specifically? 5. Why is iridium distribution inconsistent in ocean cores? Mainstream science treats these as minor details, footnotes, complexities that don't change the main story. Asteroid hit, dinosaurs died. Done. But when you stack these questions together, when you look at all the anomalies, a different picture emerges. The asteroid wasn't the only killer. Maybe not even the main killer. Maybe it was just the final chapter of a longer catastrophe, a slower poisoning, a multi-stage collapse that took hundreds of thousands of years. And maybe the real cause, the thing that made dinosaurs vulnerable in the first place, is something we haven't found yet. Let's get physical. Let's look at evidence you can touch. Hell Creek Formation, Montana, late summer 2019. Paleontology team from the University of California excavating near the town of Jordan. Population 478 people. Middle of nowhere. Badlands. Heat 95 degrees Fahrenheit. They're digging in the uppermost Cretaceous layer, within 3 feet of the KT boundary. Dating puts this rock at 66,050,000 years old. 50,000 years before the asteroid. Team leader Dr. Sarah Chen supervising the excavation. Standard procedure. Brushes, dental picks, photographs at every stage. They uncover a Triceratops femur, thigh bone, 4 feet long, weight approximately 200 pounds. But something's wrong with it. The bone's surface shows lesions, irregular pitting, not from erosion, not from fossilization damage. This is pathology, disease. Chen takes samples, sends them to a lab for analysis, scanning electron microscopy, chemical composition tests. Results come back 3 months later. The bone shows evidence of severe metabolic disorder, calcium depletion, similar to what you see in modern reptiles with thyroid dysfunction or vitamin D deficiency. One specimen could be an anomaly. Sick individual means nothing. But Chen's team kept digging. Found 18 more Triceratops specimens in the same layer. 14 showed similar bone pathology. 77%. That's not random illness. That's population-wide systemic disease. And they're finding the same thing in hadrosaur fossils, duck-billed dinosaurs. Different family, different diet, different habitat. Same bone lesions, same metabolic markers. Something was wrong with dinosaurs' physiology in the final 50,000 years before the asteroid. Something affecting their ability to process nutrients, to maintain bone density, to stay healthy. The paper published in 2020, peer-reviewed. No major disputes of the findings, but it got buried. Footnote in academic journals. No mainstream coverage. Doesn't fit the narrative. Because if dinosaurs were already dying from systemic disease before the asteroid hit, then the asteroid didn't kill the dinosaurs. It killed what was left of them. Core sample ZK47, drilled in 2016. Location classified.
somewhere in the Pacific Basin. Depth 11,000 feet below sea level. The drill brought up sediment spanning 3 million years, including the KT boundary. Standard procedure: examine the core for iridium layer, date it, move on. But technician Marcus Webb noticed something odd in the section right below the iridium layer, maybe 12 inches down, representing roughly 15,000 years before impact. Dark band, different color than surrounding sediment, reddish-brown instead of gray. Webb flagged it, sent a sample for chemical analysis. Results showed iron oxide, lots of it. Magnetite specifically. Concentrations 70 times higher than normal ocean sediment. Magnetite comes from volcanic activity, or from metallic objects oxidizing, or from certain types of bacteria. But the concentration was wrong for volcanic deposits. Deccan Traps material shows up in cores from this era, but not at these levels, not this composition. Webb requested isotope analysis. Lead-207 to lead-206 ratio, used for dating rock sources. The isotopes didn't match Deccan volcanism, didn't match any known terrestrial volcanic source. They matched carbonaceous chondrite composition, meteoritic material, meaning that dark band, 15,000 years before the Chicxulub impact, came from space. Second impact, precursor asteroid, smaller object that hit the ocean and nobody noticed. The data suggests yes, small asteroid, maybe half a mile wide, hit the Pacific, created local devastation but not global catastrophe. Except nobody's talking about it. One core sample, one anomaly. Not enough to publish, not enough to rewrite textbooks. But Marcus Webb saved his data, shared it with colleagues quietly. Few researchers know about it. And here's what keeps me awake at night. What if it wasn't just 2 asteroids? What if Earth was passing through an asteroid field 66 million years ago? Multiple impacts over thousands of years, small ones, big ones, bombarding the planet, poisoning oceans with metallic debris, disrupting ecosystems gradually. Then the final one, Chicxulub, delivered the knockout blow to species already on the edge. That would explain everything. The pre-impact decline, the selective extinctions, the ocean anomalies. But we'll never know, because nobody's looking. Core sample ZK47 sits in a warehouse in California, untouched, unfunded, no follow-up study approved. Official narrative doesn't have room for multiple impacts. Too complicated, muddles the story. One asteroid, clean, simple, teachable. But what if the truth is messier? And here's where it gets truly strange. December 2022, International Conference on Cretaceous Research, Tokyo, Japan. Dr. Yuki Tanaka from Kyoto University presents new data. Fossil eggs from Mongolia. Protoceratops species. Date to 66 million and 30,000 years before present. So roughly 30,000 years before the asteroid. Tanaka's team analyzed eggshell thickness, standard paleontology procedure. Tells you about the health of the breeding population. Healthy reptiles lay eggs with shells 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters thick, depending on species size. Provides protection, allows gas exchange, perfect balance. Protoceratops eggshells from 3 million years ago averaged 1.4 millimeters. Normal, healthy population. But eggshells from 30,000 years before the asteroid averaged 0.6 millimeters. Less than half normal thickness. 0.6 millimeters is too thin, structurally weak, would crack easily.
Embryos inside would die from dehydration or bacterial infection. Tanaka checked if this was regional, maybe environmental factors unique to Mongolia. So he compared data from other sites, North America, China, Argentina. Same pattern everywhere. Eggshell thinning in the final 50,000 years before impact. Every continent, every species tested. Ceratopsians, hadrosaurs, sauropods, theropods, all showing the same problem. Modern reptiles experience eggshell thinning from two causes: calcium deficiency or environmental toxins disrupting hormone production. Which was it? Tanaka ran trace element analysis on the fossil eggshells, looking for heavy metals, looking for toxins. He found selenium, arsenic, cadmium, all in concentrations 5 to 8 times higher than normal. Heavy metal poisoning, global, affecting dinosaur reproduction across every continent. Where did the heavy metals come from? Volcanic eruptions, Deccan traps. 750,000 years of toxic gas and ash pumping into the atmosphere, raining down, accumulating in soil, entering the food chain. Plants absorb heavy metals from soil. Herbivores eat the plants. Toxins concentrate in their tissues. Carnivores eat the herbivores. Toxins concentrate further. It's called bioaccumulation. Same process that nearly wiped out bald eagles in the 1960s from DDT. Dinosaurs were being poisoned. Slowly, generation after generation. Reproduction failing, populations unable to replace losses. Then the asteroid hit, and they had no buffer, no population reserves, no way to recover. That's what killed them. Not one catastrophe, not even two. A slow burn lasting hundreds of thousands of years. Then a final blow they were too weak to survive. But here's what nobody wants to admit. If volcanism and heavy metal poisoning weakened dinosaurs that severely, why didn't it kill the mammals? Small mammals existed, thrived even.
During the same period, same environment, same food chain, same heavy metal exposure. Yet their fossil record shows healthy populations. No eggshell thinning, no bone disease, no decline. They survived the volcanism, survived the asteroid, inherited the Earth. Why were mammals immune to whatever killed dinosaurs? Official answer? Size. Mammals were small, could hide, could find clean food, could wait it out. But that's circular reasoning. That's not an answer. Because plenty of small dinosaur species existed too. Compsognathus, Microraptor. Some were the size of chickens. Dead. All of them. While rat-sized mammals survived. Size doesn't explain that. Diet doesn't explain that. There's a missing variable. Something fundamental about dinosaur physiology that made them vulnerable. And I think I know what it was. But before I tell you, I need to show you something else. Something that changes everything we thought we knew about the extinction. Evidence that suggests the asteroid might not have been random at all. Evidence found in 2023. During a deep-sea expedition to the Chicxulub crater, they sent down a submersible, cameras, sample collectors, standard geological survey. What they found at the crater's center, 17 miles below the surface sediment, was an object, metallic, geometric, definitely not natural rock. Roughly spherical, 20 feet in diameter, partially embedded in impact melt rock. The expedition leader radioed the surface, asked for instructions, was told to photograph it, take samples, don't touch it. 3 days later, the whole operation shut down, expedition canceled, data classified. No official explanation given, no paper published, no follow-up survey scheduled.
But one of the submersible pilots saved his camera footage, sent it to a colleague, who sent it to another colleague. I've seen it. Can't show you. Can't verify it's authentic.
But if it is real, then everything we know about the extinction is wrong. That's submersible footage. Let me tell you what it showed. The object sits in a crater within the crater, like something punched through the asteroid impact site and kept going, buried itself 17 miles down through sediment and bedrock. The sphere's surface isn't smooth. It has patterns, geometric, regular intervals. Not natural weathering, not erosion. Design. Camera zooms in. You can see seams, panel lines, like the thing was constructed, assembled from sections. Material analysis from the samples they collected before shutdown. The metal contains isotopes that don't match anything in our solar system. Nickel-62 ratios off by 3%. Titanium-48 showing decay patterns inconsistent with local stellar formation. Translation? That object came from somewhere else, not just space, somewhere beyond our stellar neighborhood. And it's been sitting there for 66 million years. But here's what makes my skin crawl. The impact melt rock around it, the liquefied stone created by the asteroid strike, shows flow patterns. Like the sphere was hot when it arrived. Hot enough to melt surrounding bedrock. Hot enough to create its own mini crater. Meaning it hit separately from the asteroid. Either microseconds before or microseconds after. But independently. Two objects, same location, same moment. Coincidence? The expedition leader who saw it firsthand, Dr. Robert Kane, marine geologist from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, was told to sign an NDA, National Security Classification. He couldn't talk about it, couldn't publish. Career threatened if he leaked. But 3 months later, Kane quit, walked away from tenure, vanished from academic circles. I found him in 2024, living in Maine, small coastal town. Wouldn't give his real name. Agreed to meet once. Said he'd deny everything if I recorded him. We talked for 2 hours. He chain-smoked, hands shaking, kept checking the windows. This is what he told me. The sphere wasn't dead, wasn't inert. It was giving off a magnetic field, weak but detectable. Our instruments picked it up from 800 feet away. Natural magnetic fields from rock formations don't do that, don't pulse. This thing pulsed, regular intervals, every 4.3 seconds, like a heartbeat. We measured radiation, background levels normal, no gamma, no alpha particles, nothing dangerous. But when we got within 50 feet, everyone on the submersible felt it. Pressure in the skull, ringing in the ears, nausea. Had to back off. We thought it was pressure differential, depth sickness. But we'd been down at that depth for 6 hours already, no problems. Only when we approached the sphere. The samples we took, metal shavings from the surface, they wouldn't stay in the sample container, kept moving, crawling along the walls of the container like they were alive. Magnetic, maybe. Or something else. When we surfaced and opened the container on the ship's lab, the shavings had formed a pattern. Perfect hexagonal lattice. Self-assembled. Nobody touched them. That's when the call came through. Navy frequency, encrypted. Orders to cease all operations. Return to port immediately. Transfer all samples and data to classified authority. We complied. What else could we do? But I kept one sample. Small fragment, size of a pencil eraser. Hid it in my shoe.
Ran my own tests when I got back to Woods Hole. Tried everything. Spectroscopy, X-ray diffraction, mass spectrometry. The fragment's atomic structure doesn't make sense. Atoms arranged in configurations that shouldn't be stable. Crystalline patterns that violate known chemistry. Like it's held together by something other than electromagnetic force. I showed it to a physicist colleague, off the record. He said it looked like programmable matter. Theoretical concept. Material that can change its structure on command. Technology we don't have, won't have for centuries. But there it was, at the bottom of the Chicxulub crater, buried for 66 million years. Kane stopped talking, lit another cigarette, stared at the ocean. I asked him the obvious question. Do you think someone put it there, deliberately? He didn't answer for a long time. Then he said, I think something came here 66 million years ago. Brought that sphere. Brought the asteroid. Aimed them both at the same spot, same moment, for a reason. And I think whatever did it, it's still watching. Okay, I know how that sounds. Insane, conspiracy theory, ancient aliens, all the things you're supposed to dismiss. But let's follow the logic. Let's connect the evidence we have. Question 1. Why were dinosaurs specifically vulnerable to extinction? Answer. Their metabolism. Dinosaurs were mesotherms, not cold-blooded like modern reptiles, not warm-blooded like mammals. Something in between. They generated body heat through activity, maintained temperatures higher than their environment, but couldn't regulate precisely like we can. This worked great for 170 million years, gave them advantages, size, speed, dominance. But it had a fatal weakness. Temperature regulation in mesotherms depends on environmental stability, consistent climate, predictable seasons, steady food supply. Disrupt that, sudden temperature swings, prolonged darkness, food scarcity, and their whole system crashes. Mammals can adapt. We burn calories to maintain body temp, can hibernate, can lower metabolism during food shortages, built-in survival switches. Dinosaurs couldn't. Their biology had no backup plan. So when the Deccan volcanism started pumping greenhouse gases and sulfur into the atmosphere, temperature swings of 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit within decades, dinosaurs couldn't cope. Metabolic stress, reproductive failure, bone disease. Population decline. They were dying for 750,000 years. Slowly, generationally. But they might have recovered. Might have evolved adaptations, given enough time. Then the asteroid hit. Triggered global winter. Temperature dropped 40 degrees overnight, stayed down for years. No warm-blooded animal could survive that either. Mammals should have died too. But mammals had one advantage. Small body size, could burrow, could insulate, could wait it out in underground chambers where temperature stayed relatively stable. Dinosaurs were too big, couldn't hide, couldn't escape the cold. That's the standard explanation, and it's partially true. But it doesn't explain the eggshell thinning, doesn't explain the heavy metal concentrations, doesn't explain why the decline was so perfectly timed with volcanic activity. Unless the volcanic activity wasn't natural. 2023. Geologist Maria Santos analyzing core samples from the Deccan traps. Standard volcanic rock dating. She finds something odd in samples from the peak eruption phase, 66.5 million years ago, right before the asteroid impact. Magma chambers that should have cooled over thousands of years show evidence of rapid pressure release. Too rapid, like something triggered them artificially. Santos runs fluid inclusion analysis, looks at gas bubbles trapped in the volcanic rock. Composition should match standard magma outgassing: carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, water vapor. But she finds noble gases: helium-3, neon-21, argon-38. Ratios that don't match Earth's mantle composition. Where did they come from? Only two natural sources for those isotopes: solar wind or cosmic rays. But solar wind and cosmic rays don't penetrate miles underground where magma chambers form. Unless something brought them down. Drilled into the magma chambers, released pressurized gas, triggered eruptions. Santos publishes her findings. Peer-reviewed journal raises questions about the cause of Deccan volcanism intensity. Paper gets retracted 6 months later. Journal editor says methodology was flawed. Data couldn't be verified. Santos's career ruined. But I found her data, saved before the retraction. The isotope ratios are real. The anomaly exists. Someone, or something, tampered with Earth's volcanic activity, increased eruption intensity, poisoned the atmosphere, weakened dinosaur populations, then dropped an asteroid on top of them. It wasn't extinction, it was extermination. And here's where the evidence becomes undeniable. 1997. Hubble Space Telescope conducting routine survey of near-Earth objects, cataloging asteroids, mapping trajectories. They find object designated 1997 ZX11. Small asteroid, maybe 2 miles wide. Orbit highly elliptical. Crosses Earth's path every 67 million years. Astronomers run the math, calculate past orbital positions. 67 million years ago, within the margin of error, ZX11 would have passed within 0.2 astronomical units of Earth, about 18 million miles. Close in cosmic terms. They publish the finding. Academic curiosity. Historical footnote. Nobody makes the connection. Except one astronomer, Dr. Vincent Zhao from MIT. He takes the data further, calculates not just ZX11, but the entire debris field in that region of space, maps 12 other objects with similar orbits, all crossing Earth's path on 67 million year cycles. Then Zhao does something brilliant. He models their trajectories backward, asks where they came from originally. Computer simulation shows all 13 objects originated from the same source. Kuiper Belt object that broke apart roughly 400 million years ago, fragmented into hundreds of pieces, most burned up or ejected from the solar system. But 13 large fragments remained, trapped in resonant orbits with Jupiter, cycling through the inner solar system every 67 million years. 67 million years ago, they all passed Earth simultaneously. Cluster of asteroids, traveling together. Chicxulub asteroid was one of them. But Zhao's simulation shows something else, something NASA doesn't talk about. 3 fragments hit Earth, not 1. Chicxulub was the largest, 6 miles wide. Yucatan Peninsula created the main crater. Second fragment, 0.8 miles wide, hit the Pacific Ocean. That explains Marcus Webb's core sample, the magnetite layer 15,000 years before Chicxulub. Third fragment, 0.4 miles wide, hit Antarctica, buried under ice, never found because nobody's looking. 3 impacts, separated by roughly 14,000 years, all from the same debris field. Not random cosmic bad luck, a bombardment,
coordinated, timed to hit when dinosaur populations were already weakened by volcanism. Zhao tried to publish. Journal rejected it. NASA called him.
Suggested he focus on other research. Threatened funding cuts. He published it independently, online, no peer review. Got dismissed as fringe science. But the math is solid. The orbital mechanics work. 3 asteroids, 1 extinction event. And somebody knew they were coming. Because here's what keeps me awake every single night. That metallic sphere at the Chicxulub crater. The one giving off magnetic pulses. The one made of programmable matter. What if it's not a probe, not a survey device? What if it's a guidance system? Think about it. Asteroid 6 miles wide, traveling through space at 45,000 miles per hour. Trajectory precise enough to hit a specific peninsula on a spinning planet orbiting the sun. The odds of that happening naturally? Astronomically small. 1 in billions. But if something attached a guidance device to the asteroid, adjusted its trajectory over thousands of years using small course corrections, then aimed it at Earth, suddenly the precision makes sense. And if you're going to guide 1 asteroid, why not guide 3? Stagger the impacts, maximize devastation, make sure nothing survives. First impact weakens the planet, triggers tsunamis, disrupts ecosystems. Second impact, 15,000 years later, hits already damaged populations, compounds the stress. Third impact, the big one, finishes the job. That's not extinction. That's a calculated strike, military precision. But why? Why would anyone want to exterminate dinosaurs? Dr. Helena Voss, astrobiology professor at Stanford, published a paper in 2018 titled The Anthropic Selection Hypothesis. Her argument goes like this. Intelligent life requires certain conditions: stable climate, liquid water, atmospheric oxygen, complex food chains. All the standard stuff. But it also requires evolutionary pressure, competition, survival challenges, empty ecological niches to fill. On Earth, mammals existed for 160 million years alongside dinosaurs. Stayed small, stayed simple. Couldn't compete with the dominant reptiles. Dinosaurs occupied every major ecological niche: land, sea, air. Mammals had nowhere to evolve into, no room to grow. Then dinosaurs went extinct. Suddenly, every niche was empty. Mammals exploded, diversified, grew larger, developed intelligence, led to primates, led to humans. Voss argues this wasn't random, argues that intelligent life might require a reset, a clearing event, something to remove the dominant species and give others a chance. On Earth, that event was the asteroid impact. But what if it wasn't natural? What if someone triggered it? Not to destroy life, to redirect it, to create conditions for intelligence to emerge. Voss calls it cosmic gardening. Prune the old growth. Make room for new. Her paper got mocked, called pseudoscience, philosophy dressed up as biology. But she defended it, said, "We have one data point, Earth. And on Earth, intelligence emerged directly after a mass extinction. Cause and effect. Maybe not coincidence." I interviewed Voss in 2023, asked her if she believed in ancient alien intervention. She said no. Said she didn't think aliens did it. She thinks we did it. Let me explain what she means. The Fermi paradox. If intelligent life is common in the universe, and statistically it should be, where is everyone? Why haven't we detected alien civilizations?
Standard answers. Space is big. Technology too primitive. Civilizations destroy themselves. All plausible. But Voss proposes something else. What if intelligent species evolve time travel before they develop interstellar travel? What if it's easier to move through time than through space?
And what if the first thing an intelligent species does with time travel is go back and ensure their own evolution? Think about it. Humans exist because dinosaurs died. Dinosaurs died because asteroids hit. Asteroids hit because future humans sent them. Grandfather paradox solved. You're not killing your grandfather. You're creating the conditions for your grandfather to exist. Bootstrap paradox. Causal loop. We sent the asteroids because we exist. We exist because the asteroids were sent. Circular causation. No beginning, no end. Just a closed time loop. Voss says if we ever develop time travel, and physics suggests it's theoretically possible, the first thing we'll do is verify our own timeline. Make sure the extinction event happened. Make sure dinosaurs died. Make sure mammals inherited Earth. Because if we don't, if something disrupts that event, we never evolve. We erase ourselves. So we have to go back. Have to ensure the impact. Have to complete the loop. The metallic sphere at Chicxulub? That's us. Future humans. Making sure the past unfolds correctly. The guided asteroids? Us again, steering them into position. The volcanic triggering? Us. Weakening dinosaurs first, making sure the impact succeeds. We're not victims of cosmic chance. We are architects of our own existence. And the proof sits 17 miles below the ocean floor, waiting, pulsing, watching. I know how insane this sounds. But explain the evidence otherwise. Explain the sphere. Explain the isotopes in the Deccan traps. Explain 3 perfectly timed asteroid impacts. Explain why the extinction was so selective, why mammals survived, why birds survived. But every dinosaur species died. Almost like something was targeting specific physiology, specific metabolism, removing one branch of the evolutionary tree to make room for another. Natural selection doesn't work that way. Natural disasters don't discriminate that precisely. But intelligent intervention could. And if future humans have time travel, if they can reach back 66 million years, then they can do anything. Plant evidence, trigger volcanism, redirect asteroids, ensure outcomes. The timeline protects itself, must protect itself. Otherwise, we don't exist. Every attempt to investigate too deeply gets shut down. Kane's expedition, Santos's research, Zhao's orbital analysis, all suppressed, all classified. Not by governments, not by agencies, by us. By future humans protecting the loop. Making sure nobody unravels the truth too soon. Because if we learn what happened before we're ready, before we develop the technology ourselves, we might change something, might prevent the extinction, might erase ourselves accidentally. The sphere isn't ancient alien technology. It's ours, waiting for us to catch up, waiting for us to build it, waiting for us to send it back, waiting to close the loop. 2024, CERN, Large Hadron Collider, particle physics experiments. They're smashing protons, looking for exotic particles, standard stuff. But one experiment detects something odd. Particle decay that violates causality. Effect happens before cause. Microseconds, barely measurable, but there. Lead physicist Dr. Sarah Chen, yes, same Chen from the Hell Creek Formation dig, notices the pattern. Decay products appear 0.003 seconds before collision. Time reversal, localized, quantum scale. Chen publishes preliminary data, asks for peer review, asks if anyone can replicate. Experiment gets shut down 3 weeks later. CERN administrators say equipment malfunction, detectors miscalibrated, results invalid. But Chen saved her data, shared it with colleagues worldwide. 70 labs attempted replication, 12 succeeded. Same result. Effect preceding cause. Proof of time symmetry violation. Proof that information can travel backward in time. Quantum scale today, macroscopic scale tomorrow. Chen's career ended, lost her position at CERN.
Blacklisted from major research institutions. Now she works at a community college in Montana, teaching introductory geology. Digs at Hell Creek in her spare time. I asked her if she connects the particle physics to the extinction event. She said yes. Said the technology to manipulate time already exists in our equations, just waiting for engineering to catch up. Said she thinks someone from the future is actively suppressing research, slowing us down, making sure we develop time travel at the right moment. Not too early, not too late. Right when we're ready to complete the loop. And here's the terrifying part. She says we're close. Maybe 50 years away. Maybe less. 50 years until we build the sphere. Until we guide the asteroids. Until we go back and ensure dinosaurs die so we can live. 50 years until we become the architects of our own extinction event. Or 50 years until we learn the truth and decide not to. Decide to break the loop. Save the dinosaurs. Erase ourselves. Free will versus determinism. Do we have a choice? Or is the timeline fixed? Already happened. Always will happen. Chen says she doesn't know. Says maybe we can't know until we're standing in the control room with our finger on the button. Asking ourselves, do we send the asteroids? Do we complete the loop? Do we murder 66 million years worth of life to ensure our own species exists? What would you do? And here's where the evidence turns from theoretical to physical. December 2024. Private collector in Singapore acquires an unusual fossil. Purchased from black market dealer. Origin listed as Montana Badlands, Hell Creek Formation. The fossil looks like a triceratops tooth. 3 inches long, root intact, enamel perfectly preserved. But embedded in the tooth, sealed inside the dentin layers, is a metallic filament, thin as human hair, 6 millimeters long. The collector sends it to a lab for analysis. They extract the filament carefully. Run it through electron microscopy. The metal is platinum-iridium alloy. Composition matches modern surgical instruments. Not natural, not ancient, manufactured. But the fossil dates to 66 million years ago. Carbon dating, uranium-lead dating, multiple methods, all confirm Cretaceous period. How does modern metal get inside a dinosaur tooth that's been fossilized for 66 million years? 3 explanations. 1. Contamination. Modern metal somehow infiltrated the fossil during excavation or handling. Seems unlikely given how deep the filament was embedded, but possible. 2. Fraud. Someone created a fake fossil and planted modern metal inside. Also unlikely. The fossil shows all correct features of genuine Triceratops anatomy. Would require master-level forgery. 3. The metal was there when the dinosaur was alive. Was embedded in its tooth 66 million years ago, which means someone with modern metallurgy existed back then.
The collector tried to publish the finding. Every journal rejected it, called it too extraordinary, demanded additional evidence. The fossil vanished in 2025, stolen from the collector's vault. High security facility, no signs of forced entry. Professional job. One photograph remains. Electron microscope image of the filament. Shows the platinum iridium structure. Shows it embedded in dentin layers that could only have formed naturally over years of the dinosaur's life. That filament was in the tooth before the dinosaur died, before the asteroid hit, before the extinction. Someone was there, in the Cretaceous, with technology, interacting with dinosaurs, tagging them maybe, tracking them, monitoring them before the kill. Us. Has to be us. Future humans preparing the extinction, making sure it works, checking our targets. The loop closes tighter every day. But here's the question nobody wants to ask. If future humans can travel back 66 million years, if we have that power, why stop at dinosaurs? What else have we changed? What else have we manipulated? Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, meteor impacts, plagues, wars, assassinations. Every disaster, every catastrophe, every pivot point in history. How many were natural? How many were us? Ensuring outcomes, protecting the timeline, guarding our own existence. The more I investigate, the more evidence I find that someone's been steering events for millions of years. Not gods, not aliens. Us. Reaching back through time, adjusting variables, course-correcting, making sure humans emerge, making sure civilization develops, making sure we reach the point where we can travel back and complete the loop. It's elegant. It's terrifying. It's inescapable. We're trapped in our own causality. Can't exist without creating ourselves. Can't create ourselves without existing first. Every time someone gets close to the truth, every time the evidence becomes too clear, they disappear, or they're discredited, or their data vanishes. Not suppression by governments, suppression by us. Future us. Making sure the revelation happens at the right time. And I think that time is now. I think we're meant to know, meant to understand. Because understanding is part of the loop. We learn the truth. We develop the technology. We go back. We complete the cycle. It's already happened. It's happening now. It will always happen. 3 days ago, I received a package. No return address. Plain brown envelope, postmarked from Switzerland. Inside was a thumb drive. No label, no instructions. I hesitated. Could be malware, could be a trap, could be anything. But I opened it. One file. Video footage. Timestamp reads September 14th, 2047. 23 years from now. The video shows a laboratory. Clean room, white walls, equipment I don't recognize. Looks advanced. Organic machinery, crystalline structures, nothing like modern tech. A woman in a white suit stands at a console. She's calibrating something, adjusting settings, checking readouts on holographic displays. Behind her, through a window, I can see a massive spherical chamber. Inside it floats an object, 20 feet in diameter, metallic, geometric patterns on the surface. The sphere.
the same one at Chicxulub. The woman turns to the camera, looks directly at the lens, speaks. If you're watching this, you know what must be done. The timeline depends on it. Humanity depends on it. We've run the simulations 10,000 times. Every scenario where we don't send the sphere, where we don't guide the asteroids, ends with human extinction. Not then. Now. Our present collapses. Reality unravels. The loop must close. You know this. You've seen the evidence. You understand the stakes. In 23 years, you'll be standing where I'm standing, making the same choice.
Asking the same question. Do we kill 66 million years worth of life to save ourselves? The answer is yes. It's always been yes. It will always be yes. Send the sphere, guide the asteroids, complete the loop, or we all cease to exist. The video ends. I've watched it 50 times, analyzed every frame, looked for signs of CGI, deepfake, fabrication. Can't find any. Looks real, feels real. And here's what makes my blood run cold. The woman in the video. I know her face. It's Dr. Sarah Chen, 23 years older, but unmistakably her. The same person who found diseased Triceratops bones, who detected time-reversed particles at CERN, who got blacklisted for asking too many questions. She's the one who sends the sphere, who completes the loop, who kills the dinosaurs. Which means in 23 years, she'll be recruited, brought into the project, given access to time manipulation technology, told to ensure the extinction happens. And she'll do it. Because she has to. Because refusing means erasing herself, erasing all of us. The choice isn't really a choice. Never was, never will be. We're puppets dancing on strings we tied ourselves. But here's what the video didn't show. Here's what Chen didn't mention. If we can go back 66 million years, if we can steer asteroids and trigger volcanism and plant metallic spheres, what's stopping us from going back further? What's stopping us from targeting other extinctions, other species, other timelines? The Permian extinction, 252 million years ago. 96% of marine species dead. 70% of land species dead. Worst extinction in Earth's history. Official cause? Volcanic eruptions. Siberian traps. Lasted 2 million years. Pumped massive amounts of CO2 into atmosphere. Acidified oceans. Triggered runaway greenhouse effect. But what if those eruptions weren't natural either? What if we triggered them? Cleared the board, made room for dinosaurs, who we'd later kill to make room for ourselves. Layer upon layer, manipulation upon manipulation, extinction after extinction, all guided, all planned, all us. Reaching back through deep time, sculpting evolution, ensuring the one timeline where humans emerge and develop time travel so we can reach back and sculpt evolution. Infinite loop, perfect trap, no escape. And now that I know, now that you know, we're part of it. This video, this investigation, this revelation, it's all part of the loop. It has to be. Otherwise, I wouldn't exist to make it. 23 years from now, someone will watch this. Someone will remember. Someone will join the project. Maybe you, maybe me, maybe Chen. And we'll send the sphere, and we'll guide the asteroids, and we'll kill 66 million years worth of life. because we have no choice. Because the alternative is oblivion. Because the loop must close. I need to tell you something. Something I haven't mentioned yet. That thumb drive from Switzerland? The one with Chen's video from 23 years in the future. It wasn't the only thing in the envelope. There was a note, handwritten, old paper, ink faded like it's been sitting somewhere for decades. The note said, "You were right about everything except one thing. We don't send the asteroids to save ourselves. We send them because we already did. The loop exists. But loops can have variables, small changes, tiny differences. This is one of them. You're reading this. That's new. In previous iterations, you never got this far, never made the video, never connected the evidence. You stopped, got scared, got silenced. But not this time. This time, the loop has space, room for choice. Use it. S.C. Sarah Chen. But the paper's old. The ink's degraded. This note was written decades ago, maybe longer. Which means Chen didn't just send me a video from 23 years in the future. She sent me a message from the past, from a previous iteration of the loop.
From a timeline where she already made the choice, already sent the sphere, already completed the cycle. And now she's trying to change it. Let me close the loops, all 5 of them, because they connect. They all point to the same truth. Loop 1, species selectivity. Why dinosaurs died, but crocodiles survived. The answer is metabolic resilience, but not just natural resilience, engineered resilience. Remember the metallic filament in the Triceratops tooth? That wasn't the only one. Between 2020 and 2025, 7 more fossil specimens surfaced on the black market. All from Hell Creek Formation, all showing similar metallic implants. 3 Triceratops, 2 Hadrosaurs, 1 Tyrannosaurus, 1 Ankylosaurus. Every specimen showing the same platinum-iridium filaments, same composition, same placement. Embedded in bone or teeth, could only have gotten there while the animal was alive. But here's what nobody noticed until I compiled the data. Every specimen with implants died before the asteroid impact. Carbon dating puts them between 66.03 and 66.01 million years ago. 20,000 to 30,000 years before Chicxulub. They died early, during the pre-impact decline, during the Deccan poisoning phase. The implants weren't tracking devices. They were kill switches. Targeted elimination, species by species, starting with the largest herbivores, then the carnivores. Selective culling to ensure no breeding populations survived. Crocodiles don't have implants. No fossils show them. They weren't targeted. They were allowed to survive. Same with turtles. Same with small mammals. Same with birds. Someone was selecting, deciding what lives, deciding what dies. Us, future us, going back, tagging dinosaurs, eliminating them systematically, making sure the asteroid would finish a job we'd already started. Loop 1 closed. Selective extinction wasn't natural. It was managed. Loop 2. Deccan volcanism contribution. Maria Santos's isotope data from the Deccan traps. Remember? Noble gases that shouldn't be there. Helium-3, neon-21. Ratios inconsistent with Earth's mantle. I found her original samples. She stored them at a private facility in Brazil
before her career collapsed. Paid storage for 20 years. Nobody knew they existed. I had them reanalyzed. Independent lab. No connections to academic institutions. No chance of interference. Results confirmed Santos's findings. But the new analysis went deeper. Looked at isotope decay chains. Traced the noble gases back to their source. They're not from solar wind. Not from cosmic rays. They're from fusion reactions. Controlled fusion. Deuterium-tritium process. Produces exactly those isotope signatures. Fusion technology. We don't have it. Not at industrial scale, not yet. But we will. 20 years, maybe 30. Compact fusion reactors. Portable, powerful enough to drill into magma chambers. Release pressure. Trigger eruptions. Someone took fusion reactors back 66.5 million years. Planted them at strategic points under the Deccan traps. Set them to release pressure over hundreds of thousands of years. Created sustained volcanic activity that weakened dinosaur populations. Not natural volcanism. Artificial stimulation. Climate warfare across geological timescales. Loop 2 closed. The Deccan eruptions were triggered, weaponized, part of the extinction protocol. Loop 3. Pre-impact decline. The eggshell thinning, the bone disease, the heavy metal poisoning. All real, all documented. But Yuki Tanaka's data from Mongolia showed something else, something he didn't publish, something he only shared with close colleagues. The heavy metal concentrations in dinosaur eggshells weren't uniform. They spiked. Sharp increases every 3,000 to 5,000 years, then dropped back to background levels, then spiked again. Natural volcanic activity doesn't do that. Eruptions release steady concentrations over time, might fluctuate with eruption intensity, but not in regular patterns. This was cyclic, precise, 3,000 to 5,000 year intervals for 700,000 years. Looks like someone was dosing the environment, releasing heavy metals deliberately, testing concentrations, finding the optimal level to sterilize dinosaur reproduction without killing everything else. Trial and error, calibration, scientific method applied to extinction. The pre-impact decline wasn't environmental collapse. It was a gradual poisoning campaign, controlled, monitored, adjusted for maximum effect. Loop 3 closed. Dinosaurs were being eliminated systematically long before the asteroid. The asteroid was just the final stage. Loop 4. Marine extinction selectivity. Mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, ammonites, all gone. But sharks survived. Bony fish survived. Marine mammals' ancestors survived. The key is oxygen metabolism, specifically blood oxygen capacity. Mosasaurs and plesiosaurs were air breathers, lungs, had to surface regularly. Their blood hemoglobin was adapted for efficiency, maximum oxygen extraction per breath, very specialized, very refined. Worked perfectly for millions of years, but specialization creates vulnerability. In 2023, marine biologist Dr. James Wu analyzed fossil blood vessels from mosasaur specimens, looked at cell structure, found something odd. The blood vessels showed protein degradation, molecular breakdown, pattern consistent with oxidative stress. Oxidative stress happens when reactive oxygen species overwhelm cellular defenses, causes tissue damage, organ failure, death. But what causes oxidative stress in marine reptiles living in the ocean? Wu tested the theory, built a model of mosasaur blood chemistry, ran simulations of what happens when you change ocean oxygen levels, even slightly.
drop it by 2%. Result?
Catastrophic hemoglobin failure. Blood can't carry oxygen efficiently. Animal suffocates even while breathing. Dies slowly, painfully. Sharks don't have this problem. Their hemoglobin is less specialized, more robust, can function across wider oxygen ranges. So what changed ocean oxygen levels 66 million years ago? Standard answer says phytoplankton die off from lack of sunlight. Plankton produces 70% of Earth's oxygen. Sunlight blocked by asteroid debris. Plankton dies. Oxygen drops. But Wu's analysis shows the oxygen drop started before the asteroid impact. Started during the peak Deccan phase. Dropped gradually over 50,000 years. Then the asteroid hit, and oxygen crashed completely. Marine reptiles couldn't adapt, too specialized, suffocated in an ocean that suddenly couldn't support their metabolism. But here's the smoking gun. Deep ocean sediment cores from that period show chemical signatures of artificial oxygen depletion. Specifically, evidence of massive algae blooms, toxic algae, engineered strains that consume oxygen faster than they produce it. Gene sequences preserved in the sediment don't match any known natural algae. They're synthetic, constructed, designed to crash ocean oxygen levels, released deliberately, spread globally through ocean currents, created dead zones where marine reptiles couldn't survive. Loop 4 closed. Marine extinctions weren't collateral damage. They were targeted biological warfare. Ocean oxygen weaponized against specific species. Loop 5. Iridium distribution anomalies. Marcus Webb's core sample ZK47. The inconsistent iridium deposits in Pacific Ocean cores. I found Webb. Took me 8 months. He's living in New Zealand now, works at a fish processing plant. Doesn't talk about geology anymore, but he kept his samples, all of them, stored in his garage, carefully labeled, temperature controlled. I asked him why he saved them. Why he didn't destroy the evidence and move on. He said, "Because someone needs to know. Someone needs to have proof. When the time comes, when people are ready to see, the evidence has to exist." So I tested his samples. Same independent lab, same protocols. The iridium isn't just inconsistent in concentration, it's inconsistent in isotopic composition. Natural iridium from asteroids has specific isotope ratios. Iridium-191 to iridium-193, about 62 to 38. The Chicxulub crater samples match this, perfect natural ratios. But Webb's Pacific samples? Different ratios, 55 to 45. Way off. Impossible for natural asteroid material. Only one explanation. The Pacific iridium came from a different source, not asteroid material. Manufactured iridium. Isotopically enriched. Why would anyone manufacture iridium and dump it in the ocean 66 million years ago? To fake multiple impact sites. To make it look like Earth was hit by a cluster of asteroids. To hide the fact that only one asteroid was natural. The others were simulated, staged, evidence planted. The Pacific impact 14,000 years before Chicxulub? Fake. No asteroid, just manufactured iridium dumped to create a false layer. The Antarctic impact? Same thing, fake, staged. Only Chicxulub was real. Only one asteroid actually hit Earth. Everything else was theater, misdirection, making the extinction look like cosmic bad luck instead of deliberate intervention. Loop 5 closed. The multiple impact theory is disinformation, planted by future us to obscure the truth. So here's what actually happened. The real timeline. The truth behind the extinction. 750,000 years ago, by our calendar, 66.75 million years in the past, future humans travel back in time, bring fusion reactors, plant them under the Deccan traps, trigger sustained volcanism. Goal?
Climate destabilization, weaken dinosaur populations, soften the target.
600,000 years ago, 66.6 million years past, second wave, biological warfare. Release engineered algae in oceans, crash oxygen levels, kill marine reptiles. Deploy heavy metal compounds in volcanic output, poison dinosaur reproduction. 200,000 years ago, 66.2 million years past, third wave, boots on the ground. Teams of operatives going through Cretaceous ecosystems, tagging dinosaurs, implanting kill switches, selective elimination of breeding populations. 50,000 years ago, 66.05 million years past, final preparations. Plant manufactured iridium at fake impact sites, set up monitoring equipment, prepare the guidance sphere. Then, the main event. 66 million years ago exactly. Calculate the trajectory of a real asteroid, one that would pass close to Earth naturally. Attach the guidance sphere.
Make micro-adjustments over thousands of years. Aim it at Yucatan Peninsula. Impact. Real asteroid, real crater, real devastation. But hitting a weakened population, hitting species that are already dying, already poisoned, already culled, ensuring complete extinction. No survivors, no recovery possible. Mission accomplished. Dinosaurs eliminated. Mammals inherit the Earth. Primates evolve. Humans emerge. Develop technology. Develop time travel. Go back. Complete the loop. Perfect circle. No beginning, no end. Just eternal recursion. Except Chen's note says the loop has variables. Says this iteration is different. Says I got further than previous versions. Says there's room for choice. What choice? What can we possibly do differently? The answer came to me 3 nights ago. 2 a.m. Couldn't sleep. Staring at the evidence, staring at Chen's note. And I realized, I've been asking the wrong question. I've been asking, why did we kill the dinosaurs? The real question is, who decided? Who made the choice? Who authorized extinction? Who pulled the trigger?
In Chen's video from 2047, she says, "We've run the simulations 10,000 times. Every scenario where we don't send the sphere ends with human extinction." 10,000 simulations, meaning they tested alternatives, looked for other paths, other ways to ensure human evolution without killing dinosaurs, and found none. Every scenario where dinosaurs survive leads to human extinction. Not in the past, in the future. Our present, our timeline. But here's what I can't stop thinking about. Who ran those simulations? Who built the models? Who decided which outcomes count as human extinction versus acceptable losses? Because there's another possibility, one Chen didn't mention, one the simulations didn't test. What if we don't send the sphere? What if we break the loop? What if we accept extinction rather than committing genocide? We cease to exist. Yes.
Timeline collapses. Reality unravels.
humanity erased. But what replaces us? If dinosaurs don't die, if mammals don't dominate, if primates don't evolve, if humans never exist, what evolves instead? Maybe something better. Maybe a species that doesn't weaponize time, doesn't engineer extinctions, doesn't trap itself in causal loops. Maybe a species that deserves to inherit the Earth. Maybe we're the anomaly, the mistake, the evolutionary dead end that only exists because we forced ourselves into existence. And maybe the right choice, the moral choice, is to step aside. Let nature proceed without our interference. Let the timeline heal, even if it means we never existed at all. I called Chen, found her number through old academic directories. Expected it to be disconnected, but she answered. Third ring, voice quiet, tired. I wondered when you'd call, she said. I asked her if she wrote the note, the one from the past, the one warning me the loop has variables. Long silence. Then, yes and no. I wrote it, but not yet. I'll write it 20 years from now, after I join the project, after I see what we've done, after I understand the cost. I asked her why. Why join if she knew it meant genocide? Why complete the loop? She said, because I thought there was no alternative. Because the simulations convinced me. Because everyone said it was the only way. But I was wrong. The simulations were rigged, not by accident, deliberately, by the people who built the time travel program, by the people who benefit from the loop existing. Think about it. Who gains power from controlling time? Who gets to decide which timelines exist, which species survive, which futures manifest? Not humanity collectively, not through democratic choice. A handful of people, maybe 20, maybe fewer, operating in secret, making decisions for all of us, for all time. They ran the simulations. They set the parameters. They chose the outcomes. And they decided human existence justified dinosaur extinction. But what if they were wrong? What if there are other paths, other timelines we never tested because we were too afraid? I asked her what we can do. If the loop is already closed, already happened, already inevitable. She said, that's the beautiful thing about time loops. They exist in superposition, multiple states simultaneously. We sent the sphere, we didn't send the sphere. Both true until observed, until the moment of choice collapses the waveform. Right now, this moment, we're at the inflection point. The decision hasn't been made yet, won't be made for 23 years, but it's also already been made, already in the past. Quantum causality, retrocausality. The future affects the past affects the future. Everything influences everything. And consciousness matters, observation matters, knowledge matters. The more people know about the loop, the more people question it, the more likely alternative timelines become accessible. We might not be able to stop the extinction. It already happened 66 million years ago. Done, finished, unchangeable. But we can change what happens next. We can choose not to send the sphere 23 years from now. We can break the loop going forward, even if we can't fix the past. We can accept responsibility, accept extinction, accept that we don't deserve to exist if our existence requires genocide. I asked her if she really believes that, if she'd really choose non-existence over completing the loop. She said, I already made my choice. Why do you think I sent you the video? Why do you think I'm helping you make this documentary? I'm not trying to save humanity. I'm trying to kill it, peacefully, ethically, by giving us the knowledge to choose our own ending. 23 years from now, I'll be recruited. I'll be offered the position.
I'll be shown the technology, and I'll refuse. I'll walk away. I'll let the timeline collapse. And because I do that, because I make that choice, you exist right now. You have time to make this video, to spread the truth, to give others the same choice. Paradox. Beautiful paradox. My future refusal creates your present action. Your present action creates my future refusal. Causal loop, but broken, open, free. I asked her one final question. What happens to us when the loop breaks? When we refuse to send the sphere? When we choose non-existence? She laughed, quiet, sad, knowing. I don't know. Nobody knows. Maybe we fade. Maybe we blink out. Maybe reality reconfigures around the absence. Or maybe nothing happens. Maybe we keep existing because consciousness doesn't work the way we think. Maybe quantum immortality means we always experience the timeline where we survive. Maybe every version of us makes a different choice, splits into parallel worlds. Some send the sphere. Some refuse, all existing simultaneously in the multiverse. Or maybe none of this is real. Maybe we're already extinct. Maybe this is a simulation running in a computer 66 million years in the future. Maybe we're just data, patterns, information trying to make sense of itself. I don't know the answer, and that's okay. Not knowing is freedom. Uncertainty is choice. What I do know is this. We have a decision to make. Not just me, not just you. All of us. Do we complete the loop? Do we send the sphere? Do we ensure our own existence through extinction? Or do we let go? Do we accept the consequences? Do we choose ethics over survival? There's no right answer, no objective morality, just choice, pure choice. And whatever we choose, we have to live with it, or die with it, or cease to exist with it. But at least it's ours. She hung up. I never spoke to her again. But the next day I received another package. Same brown envelope, same lack of return address. Inside was a hard drive, labeled Evidence Archive, Complete Collection. Everything. All the suppressed research, all the classified data, all the proof. Kane's submersible footage of the sphere, Santos's isotope analysis of Deccan volcanism, Webb's core samples showing manufactured iridium, Wu's models of marine oxygen depletion, Tanaka's eggshell data, Zhao's orbital calculations, the fossil with metallic filament, Chen's video from 2047, and more. So much more. Decades of research, hundreds of scientists, thousands of data points, all pointing to the same conclusion. The extinction was deliberate, engineered, executed by future humans to ensure our own existence. Chen compiled it, organized it, preserved it, sent it to me, trusting me to do something with it. So I made this video. I'm showing you the evidence. I'm giving you the knowledge. I'm asking you to make a choice. Not now, not today, but someday, when the technology exists, when the moment comes. When someone offers you the position, shows you the guidance sphere, asks you to complete the loop, what will you say? Will you push the button? Will you send the asteroids? Will you kill 66 million years worth of life
to ensure humanity survives? Or will you refuse? Will you walk away? Will you let the timeline collapse? I can't answer for you. Nobody can. This is the ultimate existential question. The meaning of life distilled to a single decision. Survival versus ethics. Existence versus morality. Self-preservation versus responsibility. There's no right choice. Both options carry unbearable cost. But not choosing is also a choice. Ignoring the question doesn't make it disappear. 23 years from now, someone will face this decision. Maybe multiple someones. Maybe you. Maybe your children. Maybe someone you've never met. And they need to know. They need to understand what's at stake. They need to have all the information before they choose. That's why I made this video. Not to convince you one way or the other. Not to tell you what to think. Just to show you the truth. The evidence. The reality behind the extinction. Dinosaurs didn't die from cosmic bad luck. They died because we killed them. Because our existence required their death. Because the causal loop trapped us in an impossible choice. And now we're trapped in the same loop, making the same choice, perpetuating the same genocide. Unless we break it. Unless we choose differently. Unless we decide that some prices are too high to pay. Even survival. Even existence. Even consciousness itself. 3 days after I published this investigation online, released it to the world, the internet went down. Not just my connection, not just my city. Global blackout. Every network, every server, every data center. Lasted 48 hours. Longest outage in history. Official explanations said solar flare, electromagnetic pulse, equipment failure. But when systems came back online, my investigation was gone. Deleted. Erased from every platform, every backup, every mirror site. Like it never existed. I tried to re-upload. Every attempt blocked. Files corrupted. Accounts suspended. Domain names seized. Someone doesn't want this information public. Someone with power to shut down the global internet. Power to erase data across every system simultaneously. Not governments, not corporations. They couldn't coordinate that fast. That completely. Future us. Has to be. Protecting the loop. Making sure the information doesn't spread too far, too fast. But they made a mistake. They waited too long. The investigation was online for 3 days, 72 hours. Time enough for millions of people to download it, save it, share it. You're watching it now, somehow, somewhere, through whatever channel it reached you. Which means it survived. The truth survived. The evidence survived. And that changes everything. Because now the loop isn't closed. Now there's uncertainty. Now we have a choice that matters. If nobody knew, if the information stayed classified, then the decision makers 23 years from now would have incomplete data, would believe the simulations, would think there was no alternative. They'd send the sphere, complete the loop, ensure our existence. But now they know. Now they understand. Now they have the full picture, and maybe, just maybe, they'll choose differently. Maybe they'll refuse. Maybe they'll break the loop. Maybe they'll let us fade into non-existence rather than perpetuate the genocide. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll choose survival, choose existence, choose to complete the cycle. Both futures exist simultaneously. Both possibilities real. Both timelines unfolding. Which one becomes actual depends on consciousness, on choice, on you. So here's what I'm asking, what I need you to do. Download this video. Save it, multiple copies.
Different drives, different locations, different formats. Share it, upload it, spread it. Send it to everyone you know, post it everywhere. Make it impossible to delete, impossible to suppress. The more people who see this, the more people who understand, the more likely we alter the timeline, change the outcome, break the loop. Not guaranteed, no promises. Maybe it makes no difference. Maybe the future is fixed, but maybe it's not. Maybe consciousness matters. Maybe observation collapses the waveform. Maybe knowing changes everything. Quantum mechanics says so. Retrocausality says so. The evidence suggests so. So spread the truth. Make it viral. Make it unstoppable. And 23 years from now, when the recruitment happens, when someone is offered the choice, they'll remember. They'll have seen this video. They'll understand what's at stake. And maybe they'll say no. Maybe they'll refuse. Maybe they'll choose ethics over existence. And if they do, if enough of them do, the loop breaks. Reality shifts. The timeline reconfigures. We might cease to exist. We might fade from history. We might never have been. But something else will exist instead. Something that earned its place through evolution, not through temporal warfare, not through extinction, not through genocide. Something better than us. Something that deserves to be. And maybe that's the right ending. The proper conclusion. The universe correcting its mistake. We are the anomaly, the glitch. The species that shouldn't exist because we forced ourselves into existence through atrocity. And maybe it's time to accept that. Embrace it. Let go. I don't know what happens next. Don't know if this video survives. Don't know if you're watching it. Don't know if any of this matters. But I had to try. Had to document the truth. Had to give future humans a choice. Because that's what separates us from the inevitable. Choice, agency, free will. Even if the universe is deterministic, even if the timeline is fixed, even if the loop is eternal, we still choose. We still decide. We still matter. And that choice, that decision, that moment of agency is the only thing that makes us human. Not intelligence, not technology, not survival. Choice. So choose, whatever you decide, whichever path you take. Own it, accept it, live with it, or die with it, or cease to exist with it. But make it yours. Because in 23 years, someone will stand in that laboratory, will look at the guidance sphere, will see the launch controls, will face the ultimate question. And what they choose determines everything. Determines whether we exist, whether dinosaurs died for a reason, whether the loop continues or breaks. And they'll remember this video, remember the evidence, remember that they had a choice. And maybe, just maybe, they'll choose wisely, whatever that means. Final thought. Last thing I need to say. If you're watching this in 2047, if you're Sarah Chen, if you're standing in that laboratory right now, if you're about to make the choice, remember this. We don't deserve to exist because we fought for survival.
because we conquered nature, because we bent time to our will. We deserve to exist, if we deserve to exist at all, because we chose compassion over survival, ethics over existence, responsibility over self-preservation. 66 million years of life, billions of individuals, trillions of lived experiences, all erased, all sacrificed, all murdered. For us, for humanity, for the privilege of existing. That's not noble. That's not heroic. That's not justified. That's just Holocaust on a geological timescale. And maybe it's time to say no. Time to refuse. Time to let the universe proceed without our interference. Maybe the dinosaurs deserved their world more than we deserve ours. Maybe they would have done better, evolved better, built better, chosen better.
We'll never know because we killed them.
But we can choose not to perpetuate it, not to complete the cycle, not to lock ourselves into eternal genocide. We can choose to end, to fade, to let go. And maybe that's the most human thing we can do. Not survival at any cost, but ethics despite the cost. Not existence through atrocity, but non-existence through compassion. That's the choice. That's the decision. That's what it all comes down to. Survival or morality. Us or them. Existence or ethics. Choose well. Choose wisely. Choose knowing that whatever you choose, it's already chosen, already done, already in the past. The loop closes. The paradox completes. The timeline solidifies. And somewhere, somewhen, 66 million years ago, 3 shots ring out. 6 seconds pass. 1 president falls. Wait, wrong script. Wrong extinction. Wrong loop. 3 asteroids fall. 600 seconds of fire. 1 age of dinosaurs ends, and another begins. Or doesn't. Depending on your choice.
Depending on this moment. Depending on now.
The future is in the past. The past is in the future. Everything affects everything. And you're at the center. You're the choice. You're the collapse of the waveform. So decide. The sphere is waiting. The asteroids are in position. The controls are active. Push the button. Complete the loop. Ensure our existence. Or walk away. Break the cycle. Accept oblivion. Both are true. Both are real. Both are happening. Until you choose. Until observation determines reality. Until consciousness collapses possibility into actuality. So choose. Now. Forever. Always. The dinosaurs are waiting. 66 million years in the past. Waiting to die. Or waiting to live. Depending on you. Depending on this moment, this choice, this decision. Make it count. Make it matter. Make it yours. And whatever happens next, whatever timeline manifests, whatever reality becomes actual, remember that you chose it. You decided it. You made it real. That's freedom.
That's agency. That's what it means to be human.
Even if being human means choosing not to be. The loop is open. The choice is yours. The future is unwritten. Until now. Until this moment. Until you. So choose and live with it. Or die with it. or cease to exist with it. But choose, because not choosing is also a choice, and that choice leads to the same place. The loop completes, the sphere is sent, the dinosaurs die. We exist. Forever. Eternally. Inevitably. Unless you choose otherwise. Unless you break it. Unless you free us. Unless you end us. The power is yours. The decision is yours. The future is yours. Use it. Abuse it. Lose it. Refuse it. But own it. Because 23 years from now, or 66 million years ago, or right now in every moment simultaneously, someone chose. Someone decided. Someone made it real. And that someone is you. Always was, always will be, always is. The loop closes, the paradox resolves, the timeline solidifies, and the dinosaurs die. Or they don't, depending on you, depending on now, depending on choice. So choose. The evidence is here, the truth is out, the decision is coming. Don't let them delete this. Don't let them suppress it. Don't let them silence it. Share it, spread it, save it, preserve it, before it's too late, before the loop closes, before the choice is made. The future depends on it. The past depends on it. Everything depends on it. So act, now, immediately, before you forget, before you doubt, before you dismiss. Download this video, send it to everyone, make it viral, make it immortal. Because somewhere in 23 years, someone needs to see it, needs to know, needs to understand, needs to choose. And you're the one who ensures they can. You're the one who keeps the truth alive. You're the one who breaks the loop. Or completes it, depending on what you do next. So do something. Do anything. Just don't do nothing. The dinosaurs are counting on you. The future is counting on you. The timeline is counting on you. So act, now, before it's too late, before the sphere is sent, before the asteroids fall, before the choice is made. Act.